The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Well, it's Thursday, the 15th day of May 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everyone feeling today? It is, as many people call it, Friday Junior. Friday Junior. Is everyone ready for... Well, the weekend's almost here. You ready? Any Sherry folks in the crowd? You know, Sherry's favorite day of the week's Friday. And I keep telling you, her favorite day of the week's Friday because she gets a break from you all. Whereas I'm different. My favorite day of the week's Monday because I get to see you all again. How's everyone feeling out there? Hopefully you have had a productive and healthy and happy week and you are ready for a relaxing or enjoyable weekend. Alrighty, well, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Jamillah Lodge on from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. We're going to be discussing the BID Summit. This is a new summit. All of you probably need to know what's going on. So many of you have opinions and perspectives of Bermuda and its current state as far as economics and infrastructure. This is a summit that will be discussing, basically shaping Bermuda's future. So you want to be tuned into that. You want to be engaged to that. The Daily Play is a name that place today. Yep, a name that place. I don't know. We don't have anyone to guess today, but Mia broke records yesterday, man. She got that so fast. I mean, I don't think anyone had that. But she got it. Of all the songs, she got it. Don't forget to subscribe on our website if you haven't already, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, this is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Folks, I'm going to go to the Royal Gazette. The Royal Gazette, Bermuda's daily newspaper. The title is Minister Defends Cost of Trip to Women's Conference in Dubai. All right. That's the title of the article. And basically, the article just says government travel expenses have come under question after a minister spent more than $8,000 on a trip to the Middle East. Tanae Furbert, the Minister of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors, traveled to Dubai in March for a 3-day conference on women's empowerment. According to the government's website, Ms. Furbert spent $7,014.10 on air travel, $62.71 on ground transportation, and $1,140.59 on accommodation. The total cost to the taxpayer was $8,217.40. The government website added that the annual 2025 International Women Leadership Conference brought together more than 600 businesswomen and professionals from across Africa and the diaspora. The 3-day conference included leadership sessions and insightful panel discussions that aligned with the United Nations joint program with Bermuda that focused on building back equal through innovative financing for gender equality and women's empowerment. The various topics of the leadership sessions covered women in leadership, the journey of entrepreneurs, a corporate mindset, and workplace realities, closing the gender gap in technology and the vital role that women play in driving sustainable growth. All right. Now, it goes on to say later on that 4 women received $2,500, which went toward the cost of their airfare, accommodation, and conference registration fee. And 2 women entrepreneurs also received partial sponsorship at the amount of $3,500 for the airfare, accommodation, and conference registration fee. They were also responsible for organizing the delegates to the conference and side events that also occurred within the conference. Um, Minister says, I have witnessed the women's delegates who did attend the conference paying it forward and already providing educational sessions and informational sessions to our community. I'm very proud of the work they are doing, and they're doing this for free. Well, I may disagree with the minister. They're doing it for free if they were paid. Well, okay. She says they're providing informational sessions to Bermuda. All right. So let's go to the question of the morning, audience. The question of the morning. Just read that to you. What are your thoughts on government ministers spending? What are your thoughts on government ministers spending? And also, do you believe there should be a limit for government ministers? Do you believe there should be a spending limit for government ministers? What are your thoughts? Do you believe there should be a spending limit for government ministers? I saw a lot of comments on this, right? I saw a lot of comments, a lot of concerns by people, and some were legit, in my opinion. Some were legit. But I also saw a lot of comments which I felt were a bit unfair. I think they were a bit unfair. And I don't know if we've all traveled far, but $1,140.59 on accommodation. I don't know if that's a lot of money for 3 nights in a city like Dubai. You can tell me different. $62.71 on ground transportation. Well, I've been to many conferences, and that's not a lot of money. And this is relative what I'm saying. The $7,014.10 air travel. Well, there's a rule in certain organizations that if you go over a certain amount of hours on a flight, that you're allowed to spend what's it called? You're allowed to spend what's you're allowed to travel first class or comfort. All right. I don't. It's hard for me because this is one of those things where, yes, I hear people who are saying, oh, that the government should have a they should be able to use Zoom to attend these meetings, right? Which is legit. Some of them, okay, well, why are we going to every conference? We can use Zoom. Then there's the amount of people, right? There's the amount of people. I'm challenged with this, folks. I am. I'm challenged with it because I don't. I want to see what the issue is as a collective, and I'm speaking whether this was Minister Tanae Furbert or Minister Michael Fay. I'm challenged with this, and I want us to get to a place where we can understand or appreciate or accept what exactly we're willing to agree to when it comes to our taxpayers' dollars being spent. So, what are your thoughts on government minister spending? Like, are you okay? Do you say, well, look, this is for the benefit of the country? Yes, let's take them to Qatar or Dubai or wherever. We've had various ministers that have taken trips. And, I looked at the government travel calendar earlier where they did start putting their travel in and the like. What I'd like to see is Bermudians, we talk about holding the government accountable. We have to be consistent in doing that, right? Do I think the questions are valid? Yes. I think it's valid. I think it's extremely valid to say, you know what? And it's no different from charity, right? So charities say, oh, I raised $100,000. I raised $200,000. if you've donated to that charity, yes, it's all public, right? It's all public knowledge that they'll share they made this much. And then remember, accountants can manipulate anything, right? So they can say, oh, well, this money went towards this or went to. It's when you start asking the details, okay, well, what's this? What's that? So it's no different from government spending. So I get the concerns. I do. But that's where our accountability needs to be, like more than just going on the blogs or the news sites and writing under them. We're asked for the results. Okay, cool. I'm fine with spending 2,500 per person or 35, whatever. But okay, can we see how the country's benefited? Ask those questions. Because I'll tell you this, man. To make money, you do have to spend money. And so a spending limit, I'm not quite sure $8,000. Well, you know what? I've never been to Dubai. How much have you all spent in Dubai on a 3-day? How much have you spent? Let's go to the audience. Suzanne Ingham says, what? I know it costs to go that far, but did she stay in the penthouse or pay for everyone's meals? Doing it for free, she means at our expense. They're living too large. Yes, limit their expense. Just my opinion. They cost us, the public, too much. This is disgusting. Penthouse? No, she only spent on accommodation. It says $1,140.59. That's not penthouse, folks. Let's be fair here. Like, seriously, let's be fair. Like, and I'm not, let me be very clear. I'm not here to defend the government. I just want us to be fair in our assessments. And maybe I'm not understanding it, but that's not penthouse. Let me give you an example. For Bermuda tourism to thrive, we need to get these same conferences that these folks are going to Bermuda. That was my responsibility. 2 nights at one of our local hotels is going to cost you more than that. So that's not penthouse, Suzanne. I'm sorry. It's not. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, I don't have a problem with this. The cost of meals and ground transportation may not have been just for her. I was waiting for someone to say this. But also those in her travel party. Taking people out of Bermuda to benefit Bermuda is beneficial. You know, I don't want to say that the government has a messaging problem or communication problem. And I'm not here to be the messenger or the communicator on their behalf. But what Charles is saying speaks from someone who understands the industry. I promise you all, and I'm not picking on the Bermuda Tourism Authority and saying this, but I promise you, you've got individuals spending way more than that. And the results from the BTA are public. So you answer that question. Again, I will repeat, I'm not here to make excuses for the minister or this trip. Perhaps it could have been done on Zoom. I don't know. But let's be realistic about cost. Sean Smith, he says, as long as they don't go over their travel budget allocations that has been approved by Parliament. Well, I did read in here that the minister had said that they stayed within budget. They had a budget that they stayed within, and that's how they were able to participate. So she did say they stayed within budget. Now, I don't know what that budget is. I don't know what the budget is. But again, audience, do you believe there should be a spending limit for government ministers? And what are your thoughts on government ministers spending? And I want, like, again, even from a Zoom perspective, right? Folks, Zoom would kill Bermuda's economy. You see all those conferences, the premier just done a digital conference or something in Bermuda? Bermuda needs those. We need that stuff. Seriously. We have to think with the other hat on, not just the expense one. You know, I said the other day on LinkedIn, I created this post, we were going back and forth about advertising and marketing. And I said that marketing is not an expense. The truth is, education shouldn't be either. It's an investment and it's necessary. That's how I'd be looking at this stuff. I think the focus should not be on the dollar spent, but the result of the dollar spent. That's where I think the focus should be. Personally, you all are free to disagree. Suzanne Ingham says, you're right, Jamal. Get this meeting here to help us. Those spending way more need to be called into question. Well, I'm going to toot my own horn here. I don't have the car horn with me, but I'll toot it. But that was my job in the Bermuda Tourism Authority. I'm not sure who took it over once I left, but due to the big hotel closed, I highly doubt we're able to really get those kind of groups to Bermuda for conferences now. So next best thing is meeting people where they are in places like Dubai. But Sean Smith says, my average plane ticket from Bermuda to Portugal is $1,500, and that's economy. And again, most companies and organizations do have rules that if a flight's over 3 or 4, 5 hours, then they can upgrade the ticket. Now, you all may feel, well, that's private sector. Public shouldn't be doing that with the taxpayers' dollars, and that's fair. That's fair. But, and, you know, Kenton Trott says, I think it's important for politicians to attend conferences such as these. The fact that other women entrepreneurs benefited is a bonus. As long as networking is done whilst there, it is worth it. Again, thank you for this. But again, I think we need to be asking about the results. So you know that Jamel spent $10,000 to attend a conference, right? It's like marketing. I'll use a sales analogy. If I sold someone something, advertising, and they spent $500, right? The goal is that we turn that 500 into 5,000. So I think the question, the narrative should be switched. Well, okay, we've invested in these folks. What did we get in return? I think we need to change the way we measure things. Okay, if we had this, we stayed in within budget, right? That's the budget. Then what did we get in return? That's probably how we should be looking at it. But I just want us to be, I know you all don't think I do this, right? But I actually really do think before I say things. I do. I promise you I do. And I want us to be a more thoughtful community. I want us to give more, because look, I react as well, right? There are things that I'm like, man, just yesterday, with that policy legislation that I think is ridiculous that the PLP government has mentioned part of the budget. But we've got to think, folks, and put our emotions aside. And I feel at that too. Trust me, it's the human thing in us to really see beyond how we feel. Charles H. Jefferson II says, when I travel with my team, I usually pay for everything, but list those who participated in meals. $8,000 in a $1 billion budget isn't a lot of money. Many look at this from their own finances perspective. That's it, Charles. That's it. Many of us look as if it's them taking a vacation trip, right? Not as a business trip. And there are two completely different things. Folks, when you go on some of these conferences, you got to wine and dine. Even in my position with BCG, we got to wine and dine. There's an investment. We have like client luncheons and different things. Again, I don't have every detail, but I don't know. I hope, yeah. Manuela John says, the spending limit would need to be determined according to the destination. In that situation, which I do not have experience with, everything other than airfare is reasonable. Thank you for that. Spending limits cannot be across the board. Different conferences cost different amounts. Airfare will be different. Hotel prices will be different. Like, it can't be a set amount across the board. It just would not work. It can't. It doesn't. Unless the conference is in the same place every year. All right. We've got to bring Maya in, and we've got Jamillah Lodge. We're talking about the BID Summit today, folks. A new summit that we're going to be talking about Bermuda's infrastructure and building. If you haven't already, Whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter X, or LinkedIn, do us a favor and give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure everyone has access. My hope is that I wasn't here to try to change your mind about how you feel about it, but just give it some thought. Give it more thought. Give it more thought. Think of it from a business perspective. I don't know if any of you have attended conferences, right? Sherry Vanderpool makes a very good point here. You can spend 1,000 or more just to enter Disney. Yeah, yeah, she's right. Alrighty, folks. Let's give some thanks to Titan Express and Secure Trucking. But don't you go anywhere, because after the news break, and Maya has an exclusive today, right? He has an exclusive, so you don't want to miss our exclusive news story after we give thanks to Titan Express and Secure Trucking.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty. Welcome back. Amari Simon says, is it more important than being at the budget debate? What's that mean? Like, who is what more important than being at the budget debate? Manuela John said, when I traveled on the government press, I had to account for expenses, assuming that it's still okay. Okay, I'll share something with you. When I worked for Bermuda Tourism, which was technically government, I was one of the few people who refused, and I used to enjoy a libation back then. I refused to actually purchase alcohol on my corporate card, and that's really how people do. You get wine for your clients and so on. But something felt morally wrong for me doing that. But hey, as long as it was in budget and you can prove that it was for this business, that it was usually good to go. So we had to do the expenses at the end and everything. But in my opinion, things were not scrutinized like they should be. And that's kind of why people like me don't last in organizations like that, because we speak out and speak up and we see things that just don't seem morally right. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for Daily Hour News Break. And after that, don't forget, we've got a very important conversation with Jamillah Lodge from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation about the BID Summit, which is taking place. Why is Maya on mute?
Good morning. Good morning. I don't know why it's automatically doing that now. I gotta see what's that's
I
going on.
don't know. They're like, we don't want to hear from you. I don't know what happened, but how you doing today?
You know, I'm having a pretty good start to the morning, and I think that comment that said, "Is it more important than the reply budget?" is because the premier had walked out.
Oh, did he? You
Mhm.
know, I should do a better job. You know, when Amari and them told me to listen to the house last month or March or whatever, I listened. But the budget debates, I tend not to, but I should be after what I saw Minister Lightbourne say about our industry in particular. But okay, thank you for that, Maya.
Yeah, no problem. I've just read it briefly too. I haven't even gone too far in depth with it, so
Mhm.
maybe we'll bring that to you guys next week. But
Maya, we
apparently,
attend a conference every April.
Mhm.
Do you think we should attend it via Zoom?
For that one in particular, you know, I mean, some of the classes could be afforded to on Zoom, but I know they actually send out links afterwards, right, for us to do like free sessions and stuff with the people that we like. But it couldn't really be put out in Zoom with all the gear and all the stuff that we got to see at the exhibit. No.
Mm. I think you're right. I think some of the sessions could have been done in Zoom, but I think the overall experience and the opportunity to network in person,
Mhm.
that's it. But that's once a year, and it's an expense, folks. I ain't gonna let you all in our business, but it's an expense. Travel to get there, accommodations, and then the conference itself is expensive, right? I don't know. You all know me. I'm not a government defender, um, and I'm not making excuses. I mean, flights. I always take economy. I mean, maybe that's consciously because I'm one of the owners of the company. Um, so my ticket to Vegas for the conference is usually 400, 300. The cheapest, because I think Maya's is way more than that. I know the others were like 5, 6, 7. I don't know. I just think when we look at it from a business perspective, it probably makes a bit more sense. I think the results of what we get from the conferences should be front and center. Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, what you got for us today, MP?
All right. Good morning. Good morning. This is your Daily Hour Newsbreak brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. And as we all know, it's definitely warming up on the island. So don't just protect your spot from May 24th, but also protect your skin. And People's Pharmacy has some really good sunscreen. They have the Black Girl sunscreen back in. And apparently now they also have a man's version too. So
Yeah, I need that. I've got this rash. Can you see it? I got a rash on my hands. I get it every time I come to Bermuda and the sun hits me.
Do you not wear sunscreen?
No, that's why they were yelling at me last week.
Too many people in my family also don't wear sunscreen. I'm not going to say any names, but come on, we got to protect us.
Yeah. Because they were yelling at me last week. And so I'm going to go around People's hopefully today before
What's really good is that it doesn't have that white cast on it. So that's why it's particularly good for Black people. All right. So I was at the scene as Bermuda's newest firefighter recruits got their first taste of fire operations. They're pulling water from the ocean and on a task. So I end up catching up with them, asking to just, hey, can I hitch a ride? Can I follow you guys? See what you're doing? So here's a bit of an exclusive behind the scenes of what our firemen do first time when they're actually getting their feet wet, ironically, into the fire department. So here you go.
Dispatch, Lieutenant A7 and the HVP will be doing an emergency run from Pizza House in St. David's to Birchall's Cove in Crowell.
In a real-life fire, seconds matter. On this training day, Bermuda's firefighters are simulating a real-life scenario. Vehicles blocking narrow paths, sirens being ignored, and a race to water supply.
We find nowadays with people driving cars, mainly cars with air conditioning units, a lot of times they actually can't hear us because they got the air conditioner on and windows up, or the music's on, windows are up, and they can't hear.
This truck is a high volume pumper. It carries 1 mile of 6-inch hose. It's used to pull water from our ocean and send it where it needs to go. In major fires, it's a lifeline, like in December of 2023 when we experienced a fire at the airport waste facility. This truck was the one that was used to extinguish that fire.
And it ran down on the water side for about 4 or 5 days.
So the hose is connected to a pod that floats on the surface, going up or down depending on the sea level and when it rises. The hose is then connected to the truck, which is connected to the supply and firefighter lines. Now, the PSI, which is pounds per square inch, determines the pressure in which the water comes out.
So if you could turn on a hose outside of your house, you're probably going to get 50 PSI max on a garden hose. Imagine 3 times that much on a big 1.5-inch hose. That's the difference in what you're going to get. So you got 40 coming in. So you can increase your pressure a little bit.
This day is about preparation. The recruits, just a few months into the job, have only worked with the emergency medical service, and today is their first day working within the beginning stages of the fire department.
The people you come across working here and the brotherhood that it creates working amongst all the other men that are here, that's something, it's good. You got networking with people because all these guys have different things they offer.
There's a reason why you don't want to even tell anyone here to move their vehicles?
No, because sometimes you would have to come here and the people that own these vehicles will not be here or around, so we have to find a way to negotiate through traffic or different things that are around us, obstacles, so we're doing a very good job at that.
I might feel honored, it's a proud thing. Like I said, I haven't been in it yet, but just putting on the uniform, I feel a sense of pride and I can serve my community.
It's something that you have to be kind of built for, I would say, because some people can't really handle seeing some of the stuff that firefighters would have to see and would have to go through, and the hours and shifts that they have to put themselves through.
Being prepared means they need people. The Bermuda Fire Service is facing a challenge, like most of our civil servants. There are about 110 firefighters on staff. All are Bermudian or spouses of Bermudians. Fewer than 5% fall into the spousal group, and of that number, only 3 are women. And although young children will look up to firemen as superheroes, they are still human behind it all. It's more than a title. The profession requires a different level of discipline.
It's a lot of responsibility, so you definitely have to
has the right mindset. Takes a lot of maturity, and yeah, you just take your time.
From sirens that go unheard to narrow roads and long hose lines, Bermuda's firefighters are training for what they hope never happens, but know they must be prepared for.
Again, take these banners out again. Banners there.
Awesome story. I'm be honest with you. If I was young and fit, that inspired me to want me to become a fireman. If you do like one of those with the regiment, I might actually say, you know what? Conscript me, man. I'm joking. I would never. But no, that was an awesome. The two young gentlemen seem very excited about what can be or what they can be with that organization. PSI. Charles said, I never knew what PSI meant in lighting. Well, Charles, I'm not going to tell you what I meant. I was like performance something or something. Pressure. Yeah. So yeah,
Pounds per inch. Yeah, that was one.
Yeah, that's just what it was. Yeah, pounds. See, and like that. That was
they kept using it. Yeah. Thank you.
So what was I mean, being in that fire truck, what was that experience like as a journalist? Like, was it adrenaline?
I didn't get to be in the actual fire truck. I was in at one point you saw that red vehicle. That's what I was inside. It's the vehicle that was following the high volume pumper. So there was no fire truck being used on this scenario. This is where they would grab that water through that pumper that you saw there that they drop inside the ocean, and then they use that that hose and then connect it to another server that has the fire line. So yeah, it was a lot.
Do you feel like what you learned is something of value to young people? Like, because you said 3 women, right?
Yeah, 3 women out of 5 men.
Yeah. Do you think there's something of value within that would inspire women? Because I only ask because seeing those young guys, if I'm a young man, would have inspired me and made me want to become it. And if you told me only 3 black guys, I'd have been like, oh, we got to change that. That's just the way my mind reacts. Are you hopeful that young women would say, you know what? I don't see any of us. We need representation. Let's get in that.
Well, I hope they see it as a viable option. I think really is when you see people doing something, sometimes it inspires you to do something as well. I wish I could have spoken to maybe one of the women who are firefighters on the island. They weren't there at the simulation, obviously, but it would be encouraging to know, like, oh, I guess that is a viable option. Because sometimes it's just not there on the forefront of our minds that this is something that we can become because we're so often seeing firemen. Yeah, not really fire women. So
and one more thing, it was nice seeing Charles. I'm not going to call him his DJ name, but Charles Butterfield as well. At work, it was great seeing. I love seeing people we know doing great things in the community. But I guess I want to ask, and I'm not being silly in asking this, folks. I'm really not. But is there a height requirement?
They didn't say, but there is a strength requirement. I will say that. I don't think there's a height requirement, but there is a strength requirement because you won't be able to pass through if you're not strong enough to hold that hose. Like he was talking about the pressure of how, fast the water comes out, right? And like you have something like maybe this small in your household or outside in your garden, they have something like that big and the pressure is like 3 times, he said. So like holding that, and even the guy holding it down with his foot or sitting on it on the ledge while they're like pulling the pressure out of the truck. And they went up to 1,000, and it was a bit intense, but yeah. So it's a lot. You got to be strong.
All right. Is there an age? If there's like if some people are too old.
I think it's just really your health and your strength, and if you pass, you pass. Like and you keep going until because I do believe it's a yearly thing that they test for to make sure that you're still strong enough to continue to do your job on and on. I didn't get to ask that question, but I think I remember it from something else prior. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Oh, thank you. I've got a lot more questions. Obviously, I'm glad there's no height requirement. That means I'm not too tall. So, what else you got for us?
Well, closing out your news break this morning with the weather, it's looking like some sunny breaks with a few passing showers as well. A little bit of winds going through, but it should all in all be a very beautiful day. All
righty, thank you for that, Maya. Well, today, let's see. I've got a few days. It's National Chocolate Chip Day in the U.S., right? And then it's Bring Flowers to Someone Day. And I must ask, it's Bring Flowers to Someone Day. I want to kill a stereotype today. And this is particularly for the ladies in the audience, right? Do you all like flowers? You like flowers, man?
Yeah, I like flowers.
Really? So everyone likes flowers? I'm trying to meet somebody who just says, no, they die. Because that was my mindset. I'm like,
I mean, yeah, you could get me a flower in a pot. That's fine too. And I could plant it. I'm happy with that.
Aunt Karen
It's
Simmons.
still a flower.
Yes. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, I just always thought, I'm like, and then Sherry says one day, well, Jamel, it's not about you. I'm like, flowers die. But anyway, flower day. So I just want to know if everyone loved flowers. Like, is there anyone who does not like flowers? That said, you heard what Maya said. Anybody want to get a flower in a pot? Just down for it.
But listen, Jamel, even if you do get the flowers handed, like I get flowers handed to me, I would press them in a book though to keep them like in my journal, or I'd let them dry out and I'd use it as like decorations and foliage or whatever around the house. So like my flowers stay with me for like a year or two whenever I get them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or forever if they're in my book.
Sherry says, Maya, you asked and you have her address, ma'am. So if you want to send her some flowers. Marquita Lee says, love flowers. My favorite are tulips. And then Manuela Jones says, yes, I often buy them for myself. Okay, no, I don't like that. She buy them for herself. Nicole Walker says, no, she prefers jewelry. She prefers jewelry. Sean Smith says, why women never give flowers to men? No, man,
No, he can ask it. Do you want flowers? Men don't express that they want flowers, I don't think, and it's never been marketed to them, but I don't mind giving men flowers.
Yeah, Maya, take on that conversation. Look, there's too many women watching this show. I'm not doing that with you, Sean. And then we've got Charles says, I agree. Flowers seem like a way. Man, your wife ain't throwing nothing at me. And Maya, you have a wonderful day. We've got Jamillah coming up to save the day. Folks, you don't want to miss this bid summit. Have a wonderful day, MP.
Have a good day.
All right, folks. Maya Palacio. Folks, if you appreciate the daily discussion, the conversation so far, and also that wonderful news story, giving you some insight into the fire truck and the firemen and firewomen and the fire folks, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back after this with a very important conversation with our friend Jamillah Lodge from the BEDC.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Attention home renovators and design lovers, your dream space starts here. The brand new Kohler retail showroom at BAC Group is now open, bringing you up to 35% savings on all Kohler products at U.S. manufacturer suggested retail prices. That means no extra fees, no freight, no wharfage, no duty, no document processing fees, just pure cutting-edge Kohler design at unbeatable value. From sleek kitchen and bathroom faucets, vanities, toilets, to statement sinks, walking tubs, and spa-worthy bathtubs, BAC brings innovation and luxury within reach. Visit the BAC showroom on Mill Creek Road today for style, quality, no surprises. Just color from BAC.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's loan guarantee program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our very special guest. We've got Jamillah Lodge coming back from the BDC. We're talking about the BID Summit. You want to be a part of this conversation? Let's give her a warm TDH welcome. Alrighty, calm down. You've seen it before.
I like it. Good morning. I'm good.
Yeah.
How are you? Good morning, Bermuda.
I've got to ask before we jump into anything, Jamillah. You like flowers?
Yes, I love flowers.
You do? Okay.
And you know what I think it is? And I know that not everyone enjoys flowers. So for you and your partner, it's up to you to determine what it is they do enjoy, right? The idea of flowers dying and all that, it has nothing to do with it. It's, will it make your partner happy if you bought them this thing that they like? That's the only focus you need. Why they die and how they die and all.
You tell him, Jamillah. Charles talking about it's a waste.
I'm like, it must be that his wife doesn't like them because there's no other, it doesn't matter what he thinks.
Either that or he loves the coach. That's all I can say. That's all I can think of. But thank you so much for making
You're welcome.
Again. So again, you all always have something going on, and the BID Summit is being described as a pivotal step in aligning public and private sector efforts for responsible development. But I mean, just give us some background about the BID Summit, and then what specific outcomes and initiatives do you hope will emerge from this inaugural event?
Sure. So if you don't know, this is Economic Development Week, and it's celebrated globally. And so this summit is our contribution to celebrating the week. So the Bermuda Infrastructure and Development Summit is really around helping people to understand how important housing and redevelopment plays in the overall economic development scheme. And so we're hoping to bring together, like you said, public and private partners, because it takes everyone in order to effectively regenerate or make sure that redevelopment happens the way it needs to. So we're hoping that this summit brings all the players into a room, and it's a sharing of ideas. It's a identifying opportunities. It's looking at the current products and tools that we have in place and how we utilize them, because we know that they're underutilized tools in Bermuda. And so the purpose of the summit is to try to level that playing field so that everyone knows what is available and how best to take advantage of them.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Tying the housing part in as well. So the Urban Development Authority's keynote is, quote, "Why this summit? Why now?"
Right.
It suggests urgency, right? What current challenges in Bermuda's infrastructure and development landscape prompted the need for this summit?
So, I mean, we all drive around and we see derelict properties right in the middle of town. We see underutilized spaces, and you're like, what's happening with that? What can we do with that? This is valuable property, valuable real estate that is not being used. Surely there may be some legal issues going on behind the scenes, but some of them are available. And so I think the key is trying to help people to understand the benefit of redeveloping prime property to the overall island and Bermudians, right? We know that there's a housing issue. People can't find apartments, people can't find housing, but then there you have this huge building sitting there doing nothing. So the idea behind this is to help people understand what properties are available for redevelopment, what programs are in place to assist them with that redevelopment, and the players in the industry that can actually help them revitalize or redevelop a certain property. So it's very important. I mean, we know that we need people coming into Bermuda to support the fact that we have an aging population. You know what I mean? We need those dollars in Bermuda, but where are they going to live? right? And then there's an issue of when they come, they're displacing local Bermudians, and because there are no affordable housing. So all of these are issues that are associated with housing and redevelopment in Bermuda. And so this summit is taking a look at that. Let's talk about it. Let's come up with solutions so that everybody wins at the end of the day.
Thank you for that. I just want to ask the audience real quickly. Audience, were you familiar with the BID Summit before we started discussing it today? Were you familiar with the BID Summit? Just yes or no. As they're answering that, Jamillah, with a focus on Bermuda's 4 economic empowerment zones being the Northeast Hamilton, Southeast Hamilton, St. George, and Somerset, how does the summit plan to address the unique needs and opportunities within these communities?
So, as you know, we've identified these zones, and the reason why they've been identified as economic empowerment zones is initially the businesses in those areas didn't necessarily have the full advantage of some of the other areas in Bermuda. So primarily Front Street, right? Like all tourists come to Front Street, they walk up and down, you get the walk-in traffic, you get the benefit of all of that, the way we market Bermuda. You always see pictures of Hamilton proper and all of that. So the whole idea behind establishing economic empowerment zones was to try and level the playing field for those areas, because there are businesses in those areas as well. There are residents in those areas as well. And so sometimes if you don't have equal opportunity to take advantage of funding or whatever resources you need to redevelop your property, you don't. And so as a result, those areas, you see where you have derelict properties. You see where there's a negative connotation associated with some of those areas. And so the idea behind putting products and policies in place is to change the mindset around those areas. A lot of these areas are in prime areas like Northeast Hamilton and Southeast Hamilton. That's right in town, right? But why aren't people or developers clamoring to take up properties in those areas? And so the idea is creating programming that will encourage them to do that, that will encourage local Bermudians to consider, oh, look, I'm going to buy a property in this area because there's some incentive to help me to do that, or there's support to help me to be able to do that. And I think that the key, though, is understanding how it all has an impact on Bermuda and how we live and all of that. It's not just about you, but it has a knock-on effect of elevating the entire area, right? We know if you buy a property, certain people, certain things that happen in your neighborhood, you're like, oh, that's going to bring my property value down. Well, the whole idea is to bring that property value up. It's to encourage you wanting to build in that area, wanting you to get property in that area and redevelop it, because it is going to benefit the overall Bermuda landscape.
Indeed. Thank you for that. You mentioned affordable housing and redevelopment for like derelict spaces and whatnot. And you also recognize that some of them, there may be legal issues, and we know there are spaces where there's family issues and the like. How innovative can organizations like yours be in finding solutions and maybe financing mechanisms that can be considered to tackle these issues?
So based on feedback that we get from our stakeholders, which is the community at large, and then also based on government initiatives to address the housing problem, we come up with programming. So there is the approved residential schemes, which does afford developers with certain permissions that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So perhaps you get to go up higher, right? Because we know square footage is limited in Bermuda. And so if I'm a developer and I'm like, I'm going to invest millions of dollars in this development, I need to be sure that I can get my return on my investment, right? And so one of the ways that we could do that is say, okay, if you build in this area, then you can go up higher than the limit was. Because I think that there was legislation that said you couldn't go higher than the cathedral or something like that. So in certain areas, you don't have to abide by that. So you may get an extra floor, which means you get extra income to help you to recoup your cost of investment and to make it more attractive to invest in this area versus any other area in Bermuda. So it's tools like that that we've implemented to try to make it more attractive to developers. And when I'm saying developers, I'm not just talking about people coming in, I'm talking about local developers as well, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to see a return on their investment, right?
Right.
If I'm investing, I want to make sure that I get my money back and then some. And so these programs and policies, the approved residential scheme, create those kinds of incentives to encourage people to consider areas. In addition, we also identify properties because sometimes, like we said, the issue is that, oh, you like that property, you want that property, but it's tied up in probate. You know, families are arguing, it's not really available. So we've done the work to vet properties, identify properties that are prime and ready for development. And then that helps to free up the time on task, right? If you're looking at Bermuda as a jurisdiction to develop a business, if you can go straight to a list and be like, oh, these are the properties that are available, then that saves you time, right? Again, return on investment, right? Time is money. So it's those kind of tools that we have to support this whole redevelopment of Bermuda.
All right, audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. I asked how many people had heard of the Bid Summit. Karen Simmons said no. Renee Simmons said no. Suzanne Ingham said no. Nicole Walker said no. So, that's why you tune into this show. But we have a keynote speaker who will be focusing on sustainable development and climate resilience. Speak to us about how these themes integrate into Bermuda's broader infrastructure planning and economic growth strategies.
So I think it's important for Bermudians, anyone living on the island that's only so big, to understand what's happening in the rest of the world. I think even though we're an island, we're not alone in some of the challenges and problems that we have. And so where we can learn from others who have similar challenges and have addressed those challenges, I think we should. And so we have a guest speaker coming in, and they're talking about how housing is a driver of economic development. And again, economic development is bringing dollars and money into Bermuda. So how do we do that? How do we utilize those derelict homes? How do we place make? And placemaking is creating spaces that once were used for one thing, but now can be used for something else. You may have seen around the city, there are certain areas where you can now sit out, there are murals. All of that is creating or evolving what you used to know as a certain space into something else, to make it more palatable for people in the area, to make it more comfortable for people who have never experienced the area. So these are some of the themes that she's going to be covering in her speech, because she is a seasoned economic development person, utilizing housing, utilizing the types of approved residential schemes and things like that to improve her environment out of Jamaica.
All righty. We've got Charles H. Jefferson II, and he's asking, he says, wait, there will be a list of development-ready properties available at the summit. When and where is this? Yeah, let them know.
It's today, Charles. Today. It's actually right now. So, and it's all day. But this is the first, right? We have to start somewhere. And I think that the demand was high. We didn't even really need to push it out to the public. There was so much demand just in trying to put it together and pull together the speakers and panels that it sold out very quickly. We're at BUEI. And so this lets us know that people are interested, right? And primarily these are locals. People haven't really flown in for this besides our guest speaker. And so that lets us know that there is demand for this type of information and education, which is good for us because we are, with our bullhorn, like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. And so we need to get the community involved because the community is going to be part and it needs to be part of the regeneration because these are the communities that we live in. So you have to be part of the conversation and part of the solution. So,
Charles says, dang it, I can't do today when it's the next one. Well, and then that said, I mean, for community members and stakeholders unable to attend the summit, how can they stay informed about the discussions and contribute to the ongoing dialogue of shaping Bermuda's built future?
So, of course, BDC, please, if you ever have questions, you want to know how you can get involved, please do. I do think that this summit is being recorded. And so I expect that it will be on one of our platforms, YouTube or something else, for your information. All of the information that we have a page on our website dedicated to that. So the Urban Development Authority, you can reach out and find out more information about what's going on today, as well as what we're going to be doing in the future. And I will say that it says first annual bid summit, which means that we are probably going to do it again next year. And my hope is that by next year, we would have catalyzed enough people to have some actual redeveloped properties to talk about and use as case studies for how others can do the same.
Indeed. Thank you for that. And Rosalind Famous just asking, might have answered, will that list be available after this?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to our website now, bdc.bm, or go to uda.bm, which stands for Urban Development Authority. It used to be Uptown Development Authority when we were focusing primarily in Northeast Hamilton, but the remit has changed to include all of the economic empowerment zones. So if you go to uda.bm, there's details about the approved residential scheme. There's properties that are available. So the information is there. And I just think those that know. But I think it's important for us to let those who don't know, because there's opportunity in doing that.
Indeed. Jamillah, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're still always doing something, as Kendra
We
said.
try. Listen, we're trying.
Yeah. No, we appreciate it. And always thank you for making time and coming to engage with us. But all the best today. And I look forward to watching the recording. Hopefully I have access to it and seeing everything that's in store for Bermuda going forward, all the ideas. So have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Take care. All right.
Jamillah Lodge, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, family, colleagues, everyone you know. Let's beat the algorithm. Share it. WhatsApp. We're going to take a quick break. We got to name that place for you, and I want to see how many of you are tuned in. Like how many? Don't let me down today, folks. Stick with us.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Melbazar Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
BAC's new Kohler showroom is now open. Throughout April, for every $50 spent, your name will be entered to win great raffle prizes. Kohler from BAC, where luxury meets affordability.
Alrighty, thanks again to Jamillah Lodge and the BEDC. The bid summit taking place at the BEUI. Unfortunately, it's sold out, but hopefully next time around, all of you will get an opportunity to participate. Folks, again, if you've appreciated the discussion, the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, and your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical Oils, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, here is the question today to name that place. Are you ready? What is the name of the desert that covers much of northern Africa? What is the name of the desert that covers much of northern Africa? Oops. I'm sorry. Stacey Ann Brown's Sahara. Yeah, she got it first. Then Nicole Walker. Yeah. Jewel Eve. Yeah. Marquita. Yeah, we'll give it to you. Sarah Sahara. Yeah. Charles. Yeah. Yep. Renee. Yep. Rosalind. Karen. Michelle White. You see, you all know what you're talking about. You all know what you are talking about. I said, don't let me down, and you did not let me down. Everybody got it today. I love it, Dave, when everyone gets it. Folks, I got to run. I got to get somewhere today, all right? But it's been great. I just, again, as we were talking about earlier, when it comes to government expenses, I want us to do, I'm not saying that we can't have concerns about how much is being spent by government ministers or government employees with the taxpayers' dollars. Yes, scrutinize it, but focus on the results as well. What I don't want us is to just get upset that the minister spent $8,000 of taxpayer dollars. We need to follow up, and accountability is not just about questioning the amount spent. Accountability is where are the results from what was spent. I want us to go deeper, do more. All right, keep that in mind. As far as the conversation with Jamillah, I'm excited for conversations like these. I want to hope if this is an annual thing, next year this time, the conversation will be, this is what we achieve between now and then. So I appreciate that we are taking that seriously. We understand the housing situation. We understand the correlation between housing and business. These are important conversations for us to have in our community, and hopefully they lead us to a place that provides us and gives us an opportunity for a better Bermuda for all. All right, here's your daily inspiration before I head out. Quote, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out, end quote. That's by Robert Collier, who is an author. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.